What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, we're here for our AEW on TBS review for May 18th, 2022, as we are on the way to Double or Nothing. The Men's Owen Hart Cup coming closer and closer to being done. We will find out who the first man is going into Double or Nothing. But we're going to have to talk about that because that was the main event. And yeah, not really happy with how it's a problem. We'll get to it when we get to that. Also, we saw who was going to be going on the other half of the bracket. Samoa Joe versus the Joker, Ray Phoenix versus Kyle O'Reilly. In the women's, we find out who the Joker is, and I'm just going to say this for the women's Joker. It's like she comes out and it's like, I like the person, I like their gimmick, I like who they are, but for this? You're bringing this character, this person in to wrestle for this? Nah. That's a big down for me. Also, Konosuke Takeshita gets his biggest match in AEW as he takes on the AEW World Champion with CM Punk on commentary as they build towards their match. As well as the Jericho Appreciation Society has a face-to-face with Jericho and William Regal. So, that was that. And I believe there's some more, but we'll get to that. So we start the show off with Samoa Joe with his Joker. And the music plays, and up on the screen it says Johnny Elite. Now, obviously that is John Morrison, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Game Changer, Johnny Superstar, Johnny Megastar, whatever, the man with 1,000 names. Now, I saw a lot of people on social media, is like, as soon as they saw that Johnny, they're like, oh my god, it's Johnny Gargano, which would have been fantastic, but in this moment it was Johnny Elite taking on Samoa Joe. This was a good match. Good way to show. AEW is known for a couple things. One is not having good. We'll talk about that one of those things, and the later on. And the other thing is banger opening matches. The rest of the show could be a stinker, and it's like every single time the first match, the talent go out there and they just give you banger after banger. On Wednesday night, Friday night, it's taped. Not that many bangers as much as you want it to be. Not even live shows. It's like, I don't know, but like on Wednesday night, you get an opening banger. Pay-per-views, you get an opening banger every single time. That is something you can be guaranteed that if you watch the first 20 minutes on Wednesday night or you watch the first match on a pay-per-view, you're going to get a fucking banger. John Lee comes back with an ankle pick, taking down Joe to the mat. Joe gets to the ropes. Elite looks for a few kicks, but Joe quickly nails a few of his own, and then delivers one big chop. Johnny Elite, gosh, that'd be so hard. Responds up well with some punches and a huge kick of his own, but Joe didn't charge through him. Johnny Elite manages to drop Joe once again and kick him to the face, and then does a cartwheel into a clothesline. Which, what the fuck was that? I don't think I've ever seen Morrison do that, or Johnny Elite do that. That sends Joe to the outside, and Johnny follows up by flipping off the top rope. In this spot, he likes to do his parkour. You can actually see when he's getting himself ready, he's pointing to Joe to go over a little bit so he can do his spot. He sends Joe into the barricade a couple times, but Joe responds with his own, with real force, back inside the ring. Johnny Elite looks to charge in the corner, but Joe is ready for waiting with an STO, which gets a near fall. Johnny tries to get back into the match, but instead Joe runs him into him, spinning him in midair with his contact. Joe hits an inverted atomic drop, big boot, then a big huge senton, but once again, Johnny Elite kicks out. Johnny tries to lift Joe up into his back, but doesn't have enough for Joe, who just drops him with a massive chop. Then he looks for a muscle buster, but he gets out of it. He just flips out of it, drops Joe down. He follows up with, this was bad. Joe's on the mat in the middle of the ring. Johnny goes up for the 450. You usually want somebody on the mat to be close to the ring, so when you do the 450, you land on them completely. Well, Samoa Joe is a little bit too close to the middle of the ring, so when Johnny Elite goes for the 450, his knees hit the mat first, and then he falls on the Joe. That looked bad. Joe kicks out. He nails the 3 knee strikes and aims for a Starship Pain, but Joe gets the knees up, rushes into the corner with a series of slaps and punches, following with a muscle buster for the win into advance. As soon as the match is over, he doesn't even get to celebrate. Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh holding him so his partners can attack with a steel pipe. In the end, the best friends make their way to the make the save, and that was that. So now, usually when a talent makes their debut like this, and Tony Khan goes on social and says, "This person is all elite." That did not happen. So I think if Johnny Elite was actually going to be in AEW and was actually all elite, he would have won this match and moved on, because Samoa Joe clearly has got a beef to go with Lethal and them going into Double or Nothing. It just doesn't feel like he should be the one going on to the pay-per-view. That's just a feeling there. So what will happen with Johnny Elite? Do not know. What do you think of the name? Now, it'd be funny if Johnny Gargano and Johnny Elite were in the same ring at the same time, because it's Johnny Wrestling versus Johnny Elite. I think that would be funny. Chant Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Elite. I think that would be hilarious. Samoa Joe wins. He gets attacked, and the best friends make the save. Moving on here. Backstage revealed that Jeff Hardy has been medically cleared to compete tonight because, as you know, last week, the dude got his ass kicked. He got his ass whooped. So, yeah, they needed to make sure he was medically ready to go. And that is what happened there. The Bucks come in and they appear to tell him they know it's a tough one. He's been tough on his body. He's been doing this for 30 plus years. He needs to go home and let go of this match tonight, because if he doesn't, Adam Cole is going to kick his ass. Jeff tells the Bucks to get out of here with that BS, with that Christian AF BS, because he's going to win the whole damn tournament, and pretty much just tells them to get out of there. And we're definitely building toward the Young Bucks versus the Hardy Boys. Probably going to happen at Double or Nothing with what happened later in the show, but we'll get to that later. Konosuke Takeshita versus Adam Hangman Page. CM Punk is on commentary, and the fans love him again because we're not in Long Island, New York. Konosuke wastes no time charging in with a big boot as he immediately trades punches with the champion. Hangman Page turns things around quickly. This was also another good match. Back-to-back great matches. The show started off fantastic with just these two matches. Back inside the square circle, Takeshita tries to leap over the throat, but Page pushes him down and gets onto the ring apron and delivers a big chop to his opponent. Hangman then gets rocked with an elbow, but Takeshita charges at him. Hangman uses that momentum to lift him up, drop him on the ring apron. The champ follows up with a picture-perfect moonsault from the top turnbuckle. Back inside the ring, Adam Page hits the Death Valley Driver, but he only produces a near fall. His opponent follows up with a Blue Thunder Bomb, which CM Punk mentioned that he believes that El Generico invented that move. I love how they give love to El Generico. I wonder what that guy's doing nowadays. I mean, I heard he was off in Israel building orphanages and everything. I wonder how where Generico's been lately. Kid, you know what I mean. Let's see. Page kicks out only for the catch to the driver of the top rope in a Rise of the Terminator type dive that Kenny Omega hits. Konosuke hits a haluva kick, but runs back to do it again, and Page does the same move to him. So we got a haluva kick, two haluva kicks, and a Blue Thunder Bomb. I'm sure somewhere Generico has a tear to his eye and a smile on his mask, under his mask. Both men trade German suplexes, then hit the double clothesline. They go down. When they get to their feet, the two men trade punches, but Page hits a power driver, which is still not enough. He hits the Tombstone power driver. Page misses the buckshot lariat because he's playing up to the crowd, and Page is telling him, you need to capitalize on this. So when he goes for the buckshot, it allows Takeshita to get out of the way. It gets hit with an elbow strike, then to a huge powerbomb. As Page scrambles to get out, he follows out with a huge knee strike, but Page kicks out again. Takeshita connects with a huge German suplex, and as he looks for the brigade pin, he's immediately pulled away in pain. He's holding his neck because when he got dropped, he's selling the neck from the Tombstone power driver. Looks for a running knee while Page blocks it. He eats an elbow. Takeshita then aims for a diving lariat, but Hangman catches him in midair with a big forearm. Then he sets up his opponent on the top rope. Takeshita sends him off. Page lands on his feet and comes with a big clothesline in the buckshot lariat. But he's not done as he picks him up, puts him in the GTS, and hits it. Not as smooth as CM Punk. And he wins. Now, the commentary mentions how Page was expecting, because as you know last week, when CM Punk beat John Silver, he used the buckshot lariat. Not as smooth as Adam Page, but he used the buckshot lariat to win, and Page was pissed. Page was pissed. He was not happy about any of this. So, the commentary figures that Page wanted CM Punk to be pissed that he stole Punk's move. But yet Punk stole his move from Kenta. If we don't get Kenta versus CM Punk at Forbidden Door, I will be a little disappointed. Just saying. Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee versus the Workhorsemen. This was nothing special. It was Keith Lee, Swerve Strickland going out there and showing you what, like, just building themselves up to be a tag team. They are in the top 5 in the tag team ranking. I think the number 1 contenders are actually the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. So you're not going to put Tag Team Champion versus Tag Team Champion in a tag match. So, yeah. They hit this powerbomb stomp combination, which Swerve was asking for names on social media yesterday or the day before. After the match, Keith Lee says with that victory, they become top 5 ranked tag team. But before he can continue, out comes Hobbs and Starks. The FTW champion calls Lee Rex from Toy Story and says they're 2 selfish jabronis. He says they deserve the title shot since he beat Jungle Boy. Swerve mocks his outfit, and then the tag team champions make their presence known. Christian says he wishes Ricky was smart enough to know when to shut the hell up. He also mocks his clothing and says he gets it. Starks thinks he's ready for a real championship. He says they're the best. You guys are in the top 5. You're 2 of the best, but not the best. And he challenges them both to a 3-way at Double or Nothing. You could see the look on Jungle Boy's face. It's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Then Christian says, you know what? I want Jungle Boy to get his win back on you, Starks. And I also want him to take care of the guy who cost him that match. So next week, Swerve versus Ricky Starks versus Jungle Boy. I'm not a fan of how they do this to promote tag team matches. Why do we have to have tag teams, which I know Swerve is a single star and everything, and so is Ricky, but it's like, why do we have to have one member of each tag team in a match? We don't need to do that. Promos is all you need. But you could just see that Christian making these challenges is not sitting well with Jungle Boy. Last week we had the tease of, could Christian Cage attack Jungle Boy, lay him out while everyone else is gone? It does look like we're getting the other side of this, where it looks like Jungle Boy, like, what the fuck is this guy doing? When he's making a triple threat match. Yeah, we'll defend the titles, no problem, but he's making a triple threat match for us. What the hell? And then he makes he wants to have another triple threat match next week. So, that's that. Tony Schiavone is backstage with Red Velvet and Chris Statlander. Red says things are different now, so on Friday she hopes Chris brings everything. Stat agrees they are both changed, and she's taking this opportunity because she wasn't even supposed to be in this tournament in the first place. The only thing I have to say about this entire thing with Shida being quote-unquote injured, even though she's not injured, why did they even put her in the tournament in the first place? If you knew she was going to go over and work in Japan for, I think it's Stardom, or Shimmer, whatever one she works for, why would you book her in this? She could have easily just had Chris Statlander be here all along. It's not like Chris Statlander just appeared or returned after a minor injury or something while people were qualifying for the tournament. You could have had Chris here anyway. Jay comes in and says the funny thing is that Velvet tricked this alien girl into thinking they were friends, and then she does her old cut the shit to Tony Schiavone, which I don't get that line. It's so stupid. Oh boy, the best part of the show by a country mile. Willow takes his lashings. MJF says, clearly I'm not in Long Island, New York anymore. I'm in Houston. He's like, I'm in Houston. He's in Texas. You know, where he's at, Houston, Texas, right? Yeah, I believe Houston, Texas. Yeah, Houston, Texas. He tries to throw it, and he's like, I'll get it again. And he's like, again and again. He's like, oh, and Houston, Texas. Says it immediately. Says everything's bigger in Texas. Because everyone looks like a bunch of dumb, fat hicks. He reminds Willow if he touches him, the match is off. You can't sign a contract with AEW, but I'll give you a job because you're going to be sitting there shining my shoes for the rest of your life. So Willow has the Goldberg entrance. Literally, he looks like Goldberg walking out with his hands cuffed. Got the security on both sides, there's chanting Wardlow. So Tony Khan wants to have Jade be his Goldberg. Jade Cargill ain't got nothing on what they're doing with Wardlow. Wardlow is somebody that you could say it could have had built up to be this Goldberg-esque type character. Just saying. So, Wardlow gets in the ring. He spits in Wardlow's face. Like, come on, just hit me. Hit me. Wardlow's like, stands firm. He just takes the lashing and just laughs. Takes another one. He laughs. No selling these lashes over and over until, like, we get to 4. Or 3. And then, Wardlow is pissed and infuriated on, MJF, who just keeps slap, back, 4, 5, 6, Wardlow. Sean Spears pulls him off and says, no, God, no, we gotta do this right, gotta make him mean something. Spears hits 2, the last one gets a slight reaction from him. They got 1 more left, because Bryce Wensberg's in the counting. But MJF looks like he's winding himself up, he's winding himself, winding his arm, about ready to slap, and then low blows, gives him a kick to the dick, knocks him down, and starts whipping the living shit out of Wardlow. And he gets hit with the diamond ring, hit with the C4, and MJF pins him. He pins him, and MJF counts 1, 2, 3, and that is that. Fucking beautiful. Everything they have done with Wardlow has been perfect. This dude is just and people were like, yeah, Wardlow just sits there and takes these like a man. When Cody got his lashings, he sat there and crawled around and cried like a bitch. Because Cody Rhodes is not as much of a badass as Wardlow is. So next week is the cage match. I don't know how we're going to be able to get out of this and have Wardlow win with MJF as referee, unless he just knocks both men out and then walks out of the cage. We'll see. Backstage, Trent Beretta is backstage with Rocky Romero and says Roppongi Vice is back full time. Rocky Romero then says, they have goals, and those goals are going after the titles that have eluded them for years, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, then maybe the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles, and then maybe, just to top it all off, the AEW World Tag Team titles. So Trent lays down the challenge to FTR and says, how about it for the tag team titles? I know Brett would do it. And that was that. What does this do for the best friends? Because, you could have Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero be Roppongi Vice on some shows and then the best friends on the other shows. That's good. That's fine. Why not? FTR versus Roppongi Vice? Sign me up. Kyle O'Reilly versus Rey Fenix men's tournament quarterfinal match. So, this was another good match. Outside of the main event last week, because last week's main event match was just a car wreck. It wasn't anything that should have been in the Owen, but I know it's Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin, so blah, blah, blah. But here, we had Kyle O'Reilly versus Rey Fenix. I did not know Rey Fenix had music to himself in AEW. I could have swore every time he would come out, it'd be to the Lucha Bros music. I know Penta's got Penta Oscuro right now. But, I don't think I've ever heard Rey Fenix with his own music. He comes down, Death Triangle's with him, they, they give him the Death Triangle, fist bump and everything. But, hand, whatever, and he gets to the ring, Kyle O'Reilly comes out, before him, of course. Charles starts out by bringing Phoenix to the ground, looking to show his wrestling skills. The two men trade kicks and chops in the ring. Phoenix tries to go for the top turnbuckle, but Kyle pulls him, puts a stop to it, pulling him down. Rey is too quick. He wiggles out of the springboard and springboards in with a drop kick. Rey follows up by launching himself out of the ring, which sends Kyle into the barricade. But as he dives on the top turnbuckle, catches him with a sleeper. Phoenix gets up, gets to the ropes. The two men head out of the ring, and with O'Reilly sending Phoenix into the steel ring post, following it with a big kick, but Phoenix replies with the same way, throwing Kyle into the post. The fight continues outside the ring, and Kyle sitting Rey down on the chair. He charges with the drop kick back inside the ring, and O'Reilly keeps focusing on the arm. Grinding down his opponent, the Death Triangle star. Why did I say that? Phoenix fights back with big chumps, but as he tries to hang onto the ropes, his arm gives away. Kyle tries to attack him, but Phoenix responds well, leaping to the top to nail a kick to the face. The two men then trade some huge kicks, but as Phoenix tries to jump from the ropes, Kyle catches him and connects with several butterfly suplexes. Both men go for some more strikes and slaps, and that leads to both being down for a double count. O'Reilly looks for the wrist lock, but Ray fights back, and while Kyle continues his attack, Ray pops up again and takes him down. He then walks to the top rope and hits the Hurricane Rana to the floor. But as he dives back in for a cutter, Kyle catches him into a submission. Ray focuses on trying to block that, but allows Kyle to smartly catch him into the pinfall. And like he has the arm submission in. He also because he goes for the arm bar on the previously uninjured arm. Then he moves to the other one, which is the one he injured in January, and he grabs him. He grabs him and puts on the armbar while also getting his leg capturing his leg, and Phoenix taps out. Kyle O'Reilly moves on. Now, it's Samoa Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly next week. I've been predicting that we're going to get Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal, and they're going to fuck him out of the Owen Hart Cup. They only got one more chance, and that is next Wednesday. And I think that it's going to be O'Reilly versus Cole, because Cole obviously was going to win tonight. We'll talk about that here in a minute and what my problems with that match were here in a bit. Chris Jericho and William Regal face off. Here comes William Regal, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. This is followed by the Jericho Appreciation Society, which, if you're wondering where is Wheeler Yuta, that man is all the way halfway across the world in Japan wrestling for the Best of Super Juniors. So when they put all this together, they didn't the JAS didn't need to go find a sixth man because it wasn't a sixth man. He did. Jericho says it's good to see. Oh yeah, by the way, Danny Magic gets on the mic and says, No, time to cut off this music. No singing, no pyro, no nothing. The fans boo. Jericho's like, oh, come on. You all want to celebrate and sing when you get a chance to, but when these guys were beating us down 2-1, you were cheering for them. So of course, this whole attack was orchestrated by my old friend, Mr. Sir William Regal. So it's good to see him. He thought he'd be dead by now, which got a hole. Says Regal could have been one of the greatest and should have been a multi-time world champion, but instead he ended up as a world-class addict. Another He points out William Regal has been fired everywhere he's been until he got here 3 of his proteges. He says Santana and Ortiz are too stupid to know anything they have is down to him. Everything they have in this company is down to Chris Jericho. He tells Eddie that if his girl need any help, call him. The attention turns to Danielson, who he calls a nerd. He stays with this group long enough. William Regal will shove whiskey and pills down his throats that he'll have to join the program with Jon Moxley. He then advises Regal to go home, and if he doesn't, he will throw a fireball in his face because he's a wizard. Or maybe he'll piss in his tea again. Regal so elegantly says he had to listen to that whiny voice ever since he met him back in 1997. Says Jericho hit a few home truths, but one thing has kept him going, which is that every time he was on the show with Chris, but he wasn't in the ring with him, he'd go into Jericho's bag, open his toiletries ever so slightly, grab his toothbrush, and stick it up his bottom. I don't want to know that. Daniel Garcia says, that's disgusting. How can you do that to somebody? And Jericho's like, oh, young flower, I did it to yours last week. Jericho says, obviously they want to fight in that Double or Nothing. We're going to go into the greatest match that me and Hager ever created. We challenge you to the 3rd ever stadium. Moxley's like, I ain't doing that shit. Stadium Stampede was a different time and place, but this is what time it should be done. Live and in living color. He messed up color the first time. He says it's time. It's 5 versus 5. Gang warfare, gang rules, madness. They're all bleeding like stuffed pigs. He says the sport they love versus a bunch of stupid bullshit. Jericho says they're all well-oiled machine, but you guys have issues. He points out the issues and problems with the fact that last time Santana and Moxley went in a ring, it was them trying to jab each other's eyes out, and then the eye for an eye match that was actually good. That's a little cheap shot. That's Jericho's cheap shot at WWE for the week. Because if you remember, in that same year, WWE did an eye for an eye match, which had Rey Mysterio put a ping pong ball under his mask to look like his eye was out. Kingston says he doesn't. He says Kingston. Oh, like him and like the words between Kingston and Danielson. And Jerry, he's like, you know what? I don't care for all the buys and everything. I just want to fight you now. And Jericho says, forget it. They leave. Kingston says, well, I'm just going to chase after you. Danielson stops him. He pushes him back. And this is very noticeable because when he pushed Kingston back, you could see the look on Moxie's face like, dude, that's my boy. Don't shove my boy. So, very interesting. That could be, I don't want to say that could be a wrinkle in breaking up the BCC after this, but you could see that the tension is there. And, like, Moxley's going to go and, like, go to bat for Kingston before anybody else. Backstage, this was weird. Dante Martin, who has teamed up with everybody under the sun when his brother's not around. I hope his brother gets well soon. Apparently, he was in a car crash not too long ago. And Dante Martin and Matt Sydal in the back saying, they don't have to wait till the pay-per-view. We're going to give them a fight on Friday. And that was that. And I'm like, okay. You guys are asking for a death wish? Wasn't Dante Martin in the match against the BCC? One of the first matches of the BCC when Wheeler Yuta was at it already? I'm pretty sure he was. The Faker versus the Joker for the Owen Hart Women's Tournament quarterfinal match. And who could it have been but Maki Ito? It did highlight the fact that Maki Ito and Britt and the Faker did team up at Revolution on the buy-in last year. She brought Maki Ito in. This was back before all... This was like... This time not as big of a surprise, but I remember during that Revolution, when Maki Ito came out, how much of a shock it was that she was even there, because she competed for Tokyo Joshi Pro, I think, just the day before, and it's significant in 2021 because Japan, you had to quarantine for 2 weeks to go in and out of the country. The fact that Maki Ito was able to come to America, and it was all clearly on a private jet that Tony Khan owned. That's the only way that was possible. And here she was. They hug. Faker's like, yeah, we're going to do this. And Ito just does the, the okay, yeah, I got you. Head, lays down. They're like, oh, the fix is in, and Maki Ito tries to roll her up. The match was what it was. Maki Ito, the thing about it is that Maki Ito is a comedic babyface. She is a comedic act. And this whole thing, she does a bunch of comedic stuff in her matches. And whole falling headbutt, the world's strongest head, all that stuff. Of course, she loses to the Faker, and the Faker moves on to take on Toni Storm. Then Toni Storm makes her way out to women have stare down. Toni Storm's not losing next week. Plain and simple. There ain't no fucking way on earth that you have Toni Storm lose next week. If Toni Storm loses and you let the Faker go to Double or Nothing as the one half of the finals, that is the biggest fuck up that you could have for this entire tournament and makes the tournament absolutely irrelevant. Toni Storm needs to be established. Britt Baker doesn't if you look at everybody who's in the tournament for both men and women, Toni Storm could use the win. Ruby Soho could use the win. People who are still left. Chris Statler and the Red Velvet could use the win. You do not need the former AEW Women's World Champion who had 10 months of hell as a champion because her 10 months reign of terror just absolutely destroyed that championship. She doesn't need to win the Owen. She loses next week. Plain and simple. Tony Schiavone's in the ring now to promote next week's 3-year anniversary show, basically because Double or Nothing 2019 is where they are counting the anniversary of AEW. Think about Slammiversary for Impact Wrestling, where they celebrate their years, their anniversary every year at a pay-per-view. Honestly, if you wanted to, you could call it Double or Nothing, AEW's anniversary or something. This was a waste of time. This was so fucking bad. I don't know who's producing these segments for Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb, what she did with Sheeta, and all the backstage segments, all the tape segments they did with Sheeta, worked great. Everything was great. This shit sucks. She says she's sick of hearing him talk. She heard what he said last week that she couldn't beat Thunder Rosa, and Congratulations, for the first time in your entire career, you were made to look like an idiot. I'm like, Tony Schiavone has probably said a couple things in his entire lifetime. We worked for WCW towards the tail end of it. You know how many times he probably ended the show and was like, man, I felt like a fucking idiot the entire time. Yeah. She calls Dustin out, says she, of course the crowd will cheer the poster boy of failure because all your teams are failures. Claims that he's just as much of an idiot as Tony. She respects Dusty. She says that he knows all the dues that she has paid. How hard it was for the woman in that era. She put breast implants in her body to satisfy old perverts. She shaved her head and got no respect. She wants to know why he said she can't beat Thunder Rosa. Dustin stays quiet. She says he doesn't have the balls to answer. That's why, and she doesn't beat Rosa. And when she beats Rosa, Dustin respects her, and she slaps him. Rosa charges her for a fight. Dustin stops her, but she's able to get out and accidentally elbows him in the head. And he's selling it. Deeb grabs the championship, nails her with the championship, and walks away with the title belt. So that tells you who's not winning at Double or Nothing, even though it was very obvious. I don't know who's producing these, but these suck. Serena Deeb's Serena Deeb's not the best on the mic. Thunder Rosa, honestly, is not the best on the mic on a live mic. The promo package they did last week was better than the first week and this week, plain and simple. There's nothing wrong with having promo packages and people talking that way. You did it for the entire Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb feud. Not one time did they come out and really cut a promo. It was all in pre-tapes. That's what's the strength of Serena Deeb, is pre-tapes. Let it stay that way. Adam Cole versus Jeff Hardy. Now, I have a problem with this. AEW was announced January 1st, 2019. Their first pay-per-view was in May of 2019, Double or Nothing. Since their inception, they have had one big flaw in their company. Timing issues. This match got started. Jeff Hardy was coming out for his match. Adam Cole attacks him from behind. It's 9:52 when this match gets started. Or 9:53 because Adam Cole threw him in the bell rang at 9:53. We get 1 minute of action. They go to commercial break, picture in picture. We come back. There is 3 minutes left in the show. How many times has AEW sat there and said, oh, we're going to stick with this action until we get a bell, even if we have to go over the time limit? And they still always seem to end the match in time for the show to go off the air. Did you really need to have Serena Deeb come? You could have saved whatever Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa and Dustin Rhodes and Tony Schiavone were going to do. You could have saved that for Friday. Have it on Friday. Have something on that show that's not a wrestling match. Get us some kind of segment like that. Have Tony Schiavone talk like that, and that it's going to be 3 years next week. And then have all this happen there. You wasted 5 or 6 minutes on Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa in a bad promo. Yes, it's impassionate because, yeah, she put breast implants in her because that's what WWE wants the women to have. Yes, she shaved her head because she wanted to be a part of WWE, so she was a part of the straight edge society. Great, but this did not need to be on this show. Tony Khan needs to, and yes, there are sometimes segments or matches go over, but you should always, and I say this, you should always leave yourself 5 minutes of extra time in case something wants to go over. If something goes over that 5 minutes, that's on them. But there was literally no fucking reason to have Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa's entire segment tonight. That could have been saved for Friday, where you could edit a match if you needed to. You can edit something if you need to. This was the final match this is the first match in the semifinal to decide who's going to Double or Nothing, and they didn't even get 10 fucking minutes. That's a problem. Somebody needs to get to Tony Khan and you really need to clean up this timing issue. AEW on Wednesday night, it just feels like the first hour and a half paced well. But that final 30 minutes of the show is like, rush. We gotta get all this crap in here. We gotta get all this in here and get this all in here so everyone goes home happy. Let it breathe. Deeb and Thunder Rosa, Dustin and Tony could have been on Friday. Hell, it could have been on next Wednesday. Or even then, Adam Cole and Jeff Hardy should have been the main event, one of the matches for next week. You have Kyle O'Reilly versus Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy versus Adam Cole. Those should have been your two matches for next Wednesday. There was literally no reason you needed to put this match on tonight. Plain and simple. But Tony Khan just... You need to... I've never put a wrestling card together. But you got to do something about this timing. It's like that first hour and a half is just so smooth, and then that last half an hour is just, we got to get this shit in here. We have all this stuff to do. Let's add a bunch of stuff that was unnecessary. Like the whole Serena Deeb thing, like I said, unfucking necessary. But AEW just, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. Like, yeah, people can say, oh, well, Jeff Hardy was injured last week, so they had to sell it. That's why it's going to be a fast match. That's bullshit. There was literally no reason that match needed to be cut or have that match be on this week. Like, I don't know what they're thinking. That is what AEW does. We've had pay-per-views where it feels like they're just rushing to get to the end. Because they mistimed or didn't time the show right. That's what it feels like a lot of the times. And it's absolutely just very, very frustrating, very, very annoying to sit there and have to watch a show and just see that the show, they just speed through. It's like, it's like, I don't want to put this in gaming terms. Like, they're playing it's like if they're playing the new video game and... Or the first two, like they're playing the video game, a new video game, and they're playing the first portion of the game normally, like a normal player would, taking their time, getting through it, trying to explore the world, and then all of a sudden they turn into a speedrunner. That's what it feels like when I'm watching these shows half the time, because everything at the end just feels rushed. And it should not feel that way. It should never feel that way. But this is what happens when Tony Khan just doesn't, I don't know who's mapping these shows out and everything. And also, Tony, the graphics department needs to be having a talking to, because during the Samoa Joe and John Morrison match, I'm just going to say that because it's easier, they put up the graphics for what's coming up in the show, and for whatever fucking reason, they decided they were going to say, coming up next was Jeff Hardy versus Adam Cole. And I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Clearly, that wasn't the match that we got next, but I'm just saying, they literally had it up, Adam Cole versus Jeff Hardy coming up next. And I'm like, what? Why wouldn't that be your main event? Hell, why is that even... when they said that match was happening this week, I was like, why is that match happening this week and not the week after? It just didn't make any sense. So we had the match here. Jeff gets attacked by Adam Cole from the start. Match begins, and Jeff takes over. He instantly drops Cole to the mat and dives to the ring, apron and counter attack. However, Cole turns things around, sending him to the stairs. Cole continues to attack in the corner and pushes him down to the ropes. He nails a neckbreaker, but Jeff manages to kick out to keep the fight going. Hardy quickly responds to beat down with a pinfall attempt, but that's not enough to catch him. The two men trade punches until Adam hits the enziguri. We go to break, we come back, and Jeff manages to drop Cole down to the mat, gaining control as Jeff looks for a dive to the top rope, but Cole connects with a super kick in midair. Hardy gets to the ropes to stop the pinfall, though. Hardy then nails a stunner. He then heads to the top rope, but he misses the swanton. Cole hits the boom, and that was that. Over, done, and dusted. I'm like, this was the final match of the first... this was the first match of the semifinals. Next week, we get the other one. Why did this match need to be here? Every time I look on social and I see the card, they show a graphic of everything's going to happen on the show, and it's I look at it and it's there's a lot they're putting on one show. Tony, you don't have to put this much. You don't have to have 15 segments. 10 to 12 to 15 segments. You could have 20-minute matches if you want to on TV. You could have 3 or 4 talking segments. Something. You got to sit there and actually space this shit out and let it breathe. It's getting ridiculous. 3 years into the company, and you still haven't fixed your fucking timing issues. It is ridiculous. Year 1, fine. You're just getting started. Year 2, come on, let's get it done. Year 3, no excuses. Get your shit together, Tony. After the match, Adam Cole looks like he's about ready to kick Matt in the face. Matt and Jeff get up. Matt gets up. They distract them enough for the Young Bucks to come in to look like they're about to super kick. But Adam Cole attacks them from behind. They beat down the Hardys. BT triggered the Matt Hardy. Darby comes in to make the save. Sting slowly gets down to the ring as fast as he can because that's just how it is. Red Dragon appears to take out Darby Allin. Sting puts up a fight until it becomes too much. They wrap Sting's leg around the chair. Kyle O'Reilly Pillmanizes Sting's leg, and that's how the show goes off the air. So, things written off TV. It looks like we could be seeing possibly Red Dragon versus Darby and Sting, and the Hardys definitely versus Young Bucks very, very soon. When did those matches happen? I couldn't tell you. But the biggest takeaway from the show, and it's sad to say, is timing needs to be fixed. ASAP. There is no excuse for Jeff Hardy and Adam Cole getting less than 10 minutes. That match should have went 15 minutes at least. That is all I got for you tonight. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/thefrance Club, and find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I'll see you guys on Friday. Well, I will talk about Sasha and Naomi and everything else. Until then, my name is the France, and I'll see you guys later.